In this video, we'll be looking at the File Properties task, a component inside the Task Factory product from Pragmatic Works. In a previous video, we took a data flow task and exported some data out of one of our databases and placed it in a flat file. We then used the Task Factory compression task to move that into a zip format. A fairly common need now would be to log the fact that that file was created. Things like what its size was, that kind of thing. We're going to keep it simple, and we're going to create a table to hold that information. And here's my create table script. And I now have a table created. And we can actually use a fairly simple insert command. And we'll copy that. And we're going to insert the name of the file, the size of the file, and its last date of update. In addition, the log date and an auto-incrementing ID are part of the file structure. So I can come back over here and I can grab an execute SQL task out of my toolbox. And we'll drop that down here. And when we open it up, we can set the connection type to our local database. And we'll use direct input and just paste in this query. Well, now we've got our query in here, and that query is going to have its data supplied by 3 parameters. Well, now the stickler comes in. How do we get the file name, the file size, and the last update date? Well, I guess you could pull out a script task and start hammering out some .NET code, but a far simpler way is to use the subject of today's video. We'll be using Task Factory's File Properties task to go retrieve all of that information. And we'll just wire it in, and wire the output to there. And when I open it up, the first thing it wants to know is, where is the source? Is it in a variable, or is it in a connection manager? Now if I close out of here real quick, you can see I have both a connection manager for my output zip file, and I also have it stored inside of a variable, so I can pick it from either place. Let's open it back up, and we'll pick the connection manager. And I get to pick the connection manager. We'll do output from CM. I can choose to fail the package if the file is not found. I can come here, and in my long list of things, I have my date settings, general settings. This is all pieces of information that I can retrieve. Well, one of the things I wanted was the last write time. So if I come over here and I hit the down arrow, I can choose what variable I want to put it in, or I can create a new variable. Well, we'll create a new variable, and we'll name the variable last write time, and make it case correct. There we go. And I can click OK. And then we also wanted to grab the file size from here, and we'll call this zip file size. We'll click OK. And then the other thing we wanted to get was the file name, which, here it is right above it. So new file name, and we're going to call this zip file name. And we'll click OK. All right. Now I have these properties being pulled over into these 3 variables. So I can click OK. And then I can come back over here to my execute SQL task, come over here to my parameter mapping, and we'll add our 3 parameters. Our first one is our zip file name. So we're going to pick our zip file name variable. There it is. And it's going to be a in varchar, and in the OLADB, we use numbers for our parameters, so 0 is the first one. And then our next one's going to be the size. So we'll come here, scroll down to our size, and a long is okay, and this is going to be 1. And we'll add one more, and we'll pick out last write time, and it's going to be a date, and this will be number 2. There we go. And finally, we'll just clean everything up a little bit and make things good. All right, and we'll execute this, and everything should flow right through. It should read the properties, and we'll execute that SQL task. And there we go. Seems like everything flowed through. We've got no errors, so we'll stop this. And let's jump back over here to our little SQL. And I've got a select statement, so we'll select that and run it. And sure enough, there we go. We've recorded the zip file name, the zip file size, and the last write time. And there you go. You can see how easy it is using the Task Factory File Properties task to grab information about a file and record it to a log or some other format. You can learn more about Task Factory at pragmaticworks.com.